Hello again, folks. This is Mark Emery coming back at you again. I've got some very important information to share with you. I want to give you a recap as to what's going on with the case, or cases, as I should say, with Lisa Hanson, the Minnesota Patriot Princess. Give you some insights and update as to what's happening there, and a look forward as to what we have planned, what's going on. All right, it's very important. Please give me your attention for a few minutes. I'll get through this as quickly as I can. As just a brief introductory overview, and we'll leave you with more information to follow up with if that suits you hereafter. Okay, so right up front, as you know, Lisa finished her case. She was denied a defense. She was precluded. The judge precluded her from putting on any kind of a defense. Her defense was the law. Don't you find it interesting that she was in a court of law? She was accused of violating the law. She was in danger of being punished by the law with jail time, criminal charges, and fines, and yet the court denied her any ability to even discuss the law as a means of her defense. Her defense was watertight, rock solid, 100% defendable. And if anybody were to see the defense, they would say, oh yeah, that's just a bunch of bullshit. Of course, the court didn't allow anyone in the jury to see any of that. Okay? So we know how that works. All right? So upon the guilty verdict, she was immediately put into handcuffs and whisked off into jail after the judge gave her the maximum sentence. The prosecutor only recommended 10 days in jail and a $500 fine. Well, the judge would have none of that. The judge was personally offended by her approach and her disregard for the narrative, not the law, but the narrative, and he imposed the maximum sentence, which was 90 days in jail and $1,000 fine. Far beyond what the prosecutor had even recommended, which was really kind of a surprise for us, knowing how that prosecutor has acted throughout the entire process. Okay, so she's been put into jail, and interestingly enough, knowing that she has supporters, she is at this point a political figure who is gaining national attention on national media. They whisked her away from Freeborn County, the local jail, to the neighboring jail in Owatonna, making it more difficult. She was further away from getting visits, from coordinating with her support team, and doing anything of the like. And as soon as the word got out that she was there in Owatonna, in the neighboring county, they brought her back to Freeborn County. And who knows where she's going to be tomorrow. This is what they call diesel therapy. It's a way to disappear people in the prison system. They move them from one location to another. When you get to a new location, you don't really go through any booking process, so it's very difficult to even find out if that individual is in that location. All right, so that's going on. We understand that. A lengthy document, and I don't recall how many pages it is, but it's lengthy. I can't even stab a guess. I'm going to say 20 pages, but it could very well be 40 pages. It's lengthy. That documents the transgressions of this court. All right, so the fact that Lisa's in jail on the surface is not good news. Not good news for her. But you know, from my experience, I'm going to say it could be a very good experience for her. She was mentally prepared for it. She was willing to accept it. And so she's in good spirits. She's not down because of that, okay? So this is a true patriot princess. All right? She's willing to go down for the cause and have a cheerful spirit in the process. Because we all know on the support team, we know full well, without a doubt, that we are all being led by the Spirit to do the things we're doing, to persevere, to keep pushing, and to take the punches as they come. Any heavyweight boxing match, the winner is not the one who is not going to take any punches. That never happens. Both sides take punches. The winner is the one who's left standing at the end. And that's where we intend to be. All right, now, I'll give you access to that document. You can see for yourself, point for point, the transgressions of due process, the violations of oath, the violations of judicial ethics, the violations of code of civil and criminal procedure, courtroom procedure. It's just up one side, down the other, and never ending. All right? And so we've got it all on record. It's all on record. That's the primary objective at this stage, is to get it all on record for the world to see the treasonous behavior of a rogue judicial system. Okay? So I'm not going to get into details on what that document represents. We don't have time. You can see that for yourself if you're interested. But it's a long list, and it's grievous. Grievous, egregious, treasonous. All right? The parties involved have tried to cover up their deeds, their misdeeds, and in the process of doing so, have dug themselves even deeper into the hole, and it's all on record. So that's the current state of affairs as far as the local county. Now, we've got plans. I'll tell you a little bit about that. There has already, this document that I'm going to share with you in the links below has already been filed in federal court. All right, now, there have been black and white, obvious, open and shut violations of judicial procedure in the courtroom for the last 9 months, which have been brought to the attention of the Chief Justice of the First Judicial District of Minnesota. What did the Chief Justice do? Stood in lockstep with her brothers in the Bar Association. She refused to chastise members of the club. Took a long time to figure out what to do and how to sidestep this issue, but in the end she did. So, we've already taken it up to the appellate level. They did the same thing. Black and white issue, on the record, errors in judicial procedure, judicial ethics, courtroom ethics, rules of procedure, clear as a bell. Clear as a bell, open and shut, obvious. It shouldn't take more than 30 seconds to look at what happened to see the record and say, yeah, okay, this judge needs to be dismissed off this case. He refused to recuse himself off the case for clear and obvious bias. Okay? Why? Because there is an agenda to make an example out of Lisa, to say to the world, you better not get uppity, or this is what's going to happen to you. All right? And God bless Lisa, because she knows that, and she's having none of it. She doesn't have fear. She has fear for her children and grandchildren growing up in a country where there is no rule of law, where people's rights are trampled upon. In fact, they don't have any rights. And that's about where we're getting to today, in today's world, okay? So, this document I'm sharing with you has already been filed in federal court. We don't have high hopes that the federal judges are going to act any differently, because as you will see in this document, the challenges that have been raised challenge not only the authority, but the entire existence of the corporate, capital S, state of Minnesota, which is not at all the same state, small s, which has been referenced in one of the two constitutions that Minnesota has. A quick recap on that: in those days when the Constitution was being formed, the Democrats and Republicans hated each other, and one side refused to sign the same documents that the other had signed. So they had two constitutions, basically the same. Democrats signed one, Republicans signed another. But going back to the original enabling act of Congress, which allowed the state to be created in the national purview, it's clear that Minnesota State was referenced with a small s. So that might sound like a small matter, but it's fundamental, and there's many more I won't get into again, but that's just one of the more interesting aspects of what's being done here, is the entire authority of the fraudulent corporate state trying to impose itself on all of the people of the land is being challenged. And that certainly cannot stand in the eyes of the elitists. All right, so this is a challenge that's going on record. So that being the case, the way we see it, Judge Joseph Buelltel of Freeborn County, and Freeborn County itself, who has been harboring a city prosecutor who's unauthorized to prosecute emergency orders, violations of emergency orders. They have been harboring a prosecutor who has usurped authority she does not have, and who in fact doesn't even have an oath of office. As another small item, one of many that you will discover in this document. Okay? So these people have nowhere to turn other than more tyranny, more fraud, more cover-up, do whatever they can to sweep this issue under the rug and try and teach people a lesson. Don't do what Lisa did, because this is what's going to happen to you. All right? In fact, what Lisa did is something that we all need to be doing if we have any hopes for a free future. All right? Now, Freeborn County has declared war on the Constitution, which is the equivalent of saying they have declared war on the American people by these egregious and grievous acts that they have knowingly, willingly, and intentionally covered up, harbored, and promulgated. All right? It's a direct act of war against the people. You can't stand for that. None of us can stand for that. So we have before us a task, many tasks in fact, to expose what Freeborn County, Minnesota is doing, has done, and will continue to do in terms of treason, outright treason. Anybody and everybody who is involved, starting from Governor Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, the Minnesota Department of Health, Freeborn County, Albert Lee, City Council, and everybody else involved, is standing on the edge of the pit. And you can bet they're going to continue to double down, triple down, quadruple down, because their total existence depends on it. All right? Now, there are some things that are in process, which I'm not going to disclose, but there are some investigations that need to be done that will be underway shortly, in addition to the federal action, which we are prepared to take to the U.S. Supreme Court if necessary. Not that that gives us any great hope, because they're all corrupt, all right? But we're going to push every button that's available to push in an attempt to establish the record, to establish the treason, because at some point in time, I don't know when, I don't know if we'll see it in this particular case, but there will be a point in time when those who are guilty will be held accountable. And we're in the process of setting the record undeniably in such a way that the perpetrators are not going to be able to escape. Period. And that's our function. So with these investigations underway, we're going to be developing a series of educational and informational videos on these topics. It's going to take some time to put together. It's going to take some money. We're going to hire professional video crews. We need to hire professional investigators to do some very interesting, let's just use that term, some very interesting investigations of the parties involved, which may very well disclose some highly compromising information. We've got just this document that I'm sharing with you below was no less than 15 to 20 hours just to put that one document together, and the time that was involved in getting to that point of having that document, not just putting the document together, but in exposing it on the record for the previous 9 months. There have been hundreds and hundreds of hours involved, okay, from some highly talented people with knowledge and experience, all right? So we have some very specific talent and expertise involved in this project, but it's going to be a huge project. It is a huge project. It has been a huge project, all right? And we need your help. I'm here to tell you, direct, eye to eye, we need your help and support, all right? We need people to join us in the NATF co-op. There's a website, natf-team.com. Contributions there in increments of $100. 30% goes into a sinking fund, which will be put aside to grow so that we can do what? Give you not only your donation back, but even then some as a bonus, okay? Would you support a project like this if you had a pretty good chance of getting your funds back and then some? All right? We're not calling it an investment. It's simply a donation with a good faith effort to have the sinking fund cover those donations and more, okay? So we need your help there. And the very least, you can join the forum, subscribe to our self-governance and common law course. It's a $25 a month subscription, and you will get much, much more than your $25 out of it in terms of knowledge, history, constitution, common law, people's courts, and so much more that will empower you to not only know what your rights are and how to enforce them, but it will enable you to draw that line in the sand to say, hey, buddy, this is as far as you go. Anything beyond this point, it's going to cost you. Okay? And that's where we all need to be. We all need to be in a position where we don't cower down to false, presumed authority. And that's why we're in the position that we're in. Because most of us don't understand the law. We don't know our rights. We don't know how to enforce them. And so we just cower down in fear by pretenders and usurpers. The guy next door who happens to have a suit with a badge, who himself doesn't know the law that well in most cases. All right? So we're in a position in this country right now whereby we're in serious, serious danger of losing that which Literally millions have died fighting to protect in previous wars and conflicts. All right? Are you going to take on that responsibility of sitting passive on the sidelines, doing nothing, watching this happen on your watch, knowing that people have died to give you, to protect the rights that you are squandering? That's what it comes down to. Each and every one of us has a responsibility. So I'm calling out to you right now to support the NATF. We need your support, not only financially, but getting involved, getting engaged, learning how to enforce your rights, and being in a position to just say no. Thank you, Nancy Reagan. So folks, that's it. We're going to cut it off there. This has been long enough. We need your support. We're counting on you to come forward, join us in this effort. It's now or never. That's it. All right? Review the document in the links below and share this with everybody you know, because this is a watershed moment that can't be ignored without consequences. All right? So, thank you for your attention, and we'll see you in the next video.